whenever you're ready, you may resume.
Judge, thank you. And we were proceeding through the demonstrative exhibit that had been prepared by Detective Lord. I would ask that we turn the screen back on and perhaps lower the lights. Detective Lord, welcome back. You had stated that you found some information on Karina Cooper's device that was part of an Apple Health app and indicated some steps and movement. Did you look for similar information or data on Houston Danker's phone?
I did.
And is that part of the exhibit that you've prepared today?
Yes, it is.
What information were you able to locate?
So on here, the same as on Karina's phone, you have the start date and time, end date and time, the duration of that distance, and steps taken.
And so specifically then on the night of the murder, were you able to determine whether Houston Danker's phone was recording steps?
I was.
And what information did you locate, I guess starting with 6/18/2021, which looks like the second line down on what you've prepared here?
Yeah, so on 6/18/2021, it shows that there is movement between 2:43 a.m., 2:51 p.m., and then it jumps to 3:13 a.m. to 3:23 a.m., which then continues on from 3:23 a.m. to 3:26 a.m. And then there's a gap of no movement until 4:46 a.m.
So with regard to that movement at 3:13 a.m., what was the distance of movement that you noted there?
Are you asking total between 3:13 and 4:46?
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Could you pull your microphone a little bit closer?
Yeah, what did you ask? Sorry.
I'm asking, you said that there was movement there between 3:13 a.m. and 3:23 a.m. What was the distance of movement that you noted there?
Yeah, so the distance there was 159 meters.
Okay. And then there was further movement then between 3:23 and 3:26. What did you note there?
Yeah, the distance there was 37.28 meters.
And then you indicated there was a gap. Could you just explain what you were talking about?
Yeah, the phone showed just no movement between 3:26 a.m. and 4:46 a.m.
And you had testified previously that there was Snapchat messages between the parties indicating something to the extent of phones down. Is that correct?
Yes.
And if an individual was not in possession of their phone, not carrying their phone, would it be recording steps, or could that account for the gap we see here?
Yeah, they would not record steps if their phone was put down.
With the information that you located and the other information that you received as an investigator, did you attempt to put together a timeline from the night of the murder?
I did.
All right, I'm showing you the exhibit that you've prepared. Looks like it is animating. What is the first line on your exhibit that you've prepared?
Yeah, so between 3:31 and 3:32:58, that's when that Snapchat conversation took place between Karina's phone and Houston's phone.
All right, and that's the Snapchat conversation. Judge, may I have just a moment? All right, so that was the Snapchat conversation that we saw where Ms. Cooper said go, and then they talked about putting their phones down?
That is correct.
All right. That conversation ended at 3:32:58, and what was the next event that you noted in your timeline?
Yeah, that is at 4:13 when that live photo was viewed.
And that was on Karina Cooper's phone, correct?
Yes.
And what did you note next?
At 4:18 in the morning, there was 2 deleted photos.
And the next activity you noted on the phone that you included in your timeline?
Those were the steps taken between 4:23 and 4:33 a.m.
We'd heard previous testimony that Karina Cooper called Aaron Cooper at 4:30 a.m. Were you able to verify that information by examining the phone?
I was.
And how did you verify that information?
Yeah, so at 4:30, that is when the call came out from Karina's phone to Aaron Cooper. That is also located on the U.S. cellular records.
All right, so then the next thing you noted here, you have 3 separate entries. What are those? At 4:31, again at 4:31, and 4:33.
Yeah, those are calls from Aaron Cooper to Karina Cooper.
And the length of those phone calls then, and this is, looks to be more or less immediately following the phone call to Aaron Cooper, 1 second unanswered and 23 seconds?
Yes.
And then what's this next piece of information at 4:33:43?
Yeah, that is when Karina Cooper's cell phone called 911.
And what's this that we see at 4:34:44?
That's when Aaron Cooper called 911.
And at 4:39 a.m.?
That's when Aaron Cooper arrived at the address of 1846 K Ave.
All right. And 4:42 a.m.?
That is when the first deputy arrived at that address.
That's okay. Did you do some additional work then to look at Houston Danker's search history on his iPhone 7?
I did.
Showing you the next slide, it looks like we have an icon here for Google. It says Google search history. Could you explain what you were looking for and how you completed that search?
Yeah, so for on the phones, I narrowed it down to the time that the incident occurred, and I located some search history. And then after that, I got rid of the timeline, and it located some other history that was also around the same time that doesn't necessarily have a timestamp.
And it may be fairly obvious to some people, but perhaps not everyone. Can you explain what a Google search history is?
Yeah, so what a Google search history is basically an index of a whole bunch of different sites. So when you go to search something, it tries to pull what it thinks you are searching for, the most accurate thing.
And again, perhaps fairly obvious, but these searches are completed typically manually or input by a user. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you've just included the results of that search that you did in attempting to locate the searches that Houston Danker had completed here on this next slide.
Yes.
What is the, if you could just go through a couple of the results that you found.
Yeah, how to kill somebody with antifreeze, best way to kill somebody with no way for anybody to find out who did it, how to save snaps without them knowing. And then the SS on here is how to screenshot on Snap without them knowing 2021. And that was searched on February 16th, 2021.
And some additional history that you located.
So this was on May 11th, 2021 at 9:20 p.m. Is sodium sulfate, is it deadly? This is on May 22nd, 2021 at 8:52 p.m. I might sound strong, but diphenhydramine versus bromethylene. This is the same day and time, a little bit later, at diphenhydramine, does it kill humans? Again, on May 22nd, this is now at 9:17 p.m., the black market. And this is 6/18/2021 at 5 p.m. Old open Snapchats be found again after being seen in the state of Iowa.
And what's the date of that particular search?
Yeah, that one is June 18th, 2021 at 5 p.m.
And so again, that's the date of Ryan's death, correct?
Yes. This is again on June 18th at 6:17 p.m. Are Snapchats encrypted? This one's on July 1st, 2021 at 10:26 p.m. Where do murderers go to prison? This is July 2nd, 2021 at 10:29 p.m. Minimum security prisons in Iowa. This is again on July 2nd at 10:30 p.m. High security prisons.
I'm going to move forward here to the next slide. Looks like, or excuse me, the next line on your slide is July 3rd. What does this one say?
How long does it take to go through data forensics?
And the 10th?
Leavenworth Prison.
And July 16th.
How to permanently delete Snapchat data.
So this is approximately 1 month after Ryan's death, is that correct?
Yes.
And now from November of 2021.
Does your Snapchat location turn off when you log out?
And did you find then some additional searches related to Snapchat and the functioning of Snapchat?
I did. Can messages be accidentally sent to somebody else on Snapchat? Can the feds pull Snapchats back up? Can data forensics retrieve old Snapchat conversations from an iPhone? Can old opened Snapchats be found again after being seen in the state of Iowa? Does Snapchat save every message and picture I send, even if opened? What is received with a search warrant sent to Snapchat? Can a state investigator read through old Snapchat conversations? Snapchat saved messages. Can data forensics pull Snapchats up? What is Snapchat able to give to feds? What kind of conversations can data forensics pull back up? Even after a snap is already opened, can you use data forensics to see what the Snapchat was? Can I recover photos I deleted from my recently deleted album? Will deleting your Snapchat delete the DATs, which is dates? What's Snapchat cache? Are Snapchat messages encrypted? If you delete your Snapchat, can data forensics pick up anything from it? If I deleted pictures from my iPhone, can I still bring them back? They have opened my Snapchat, but their last seen time hasn't updated or location. If you log out of your Snapchat and log back in, does it show your location in the same spot, but turn it off? If you shut your location off, does it keep you in the same spot for 8 hours on Snapchat? Is Snapchat messages encrypted?
Moving on to some additional search history that you located. You've separated these out, it looks like, into 4 separate segments. Did you find then Google searches related to poisoning?
I did. What is the best way to poison somebody quickly? Is chloroform traceable? Cyanide. Sodium cyanide. Diphenol. Where to find arsenic?
And moving on to the area that you've deemed killing or searches related to killing, what did you find?
Yeah, what's the best gun to use to kill somebody? How do people get caught for shooting? How to positively get away with murder? The best way to kill somebody with no evidence? How much does it pay to dig a grave?
There were a couple searches related to locating a lawyer. What's this final one marked date?
Father's Day 2021.
Did you attempt to locate search history then for Karina Cooper?
I did.
See what appears to be the Safari icon. Can you explain what Safari is?
Yeah, that's the built-in search engine for iPhones.
And so this is information that you're taking from her iPhone that you referenced previously?
Yes.
Were you able to locate relevant search history for Karina Cooper?
I was, but not between these dates.
All right. So it says gap in Safari search history from February 13, 2021 to June 1st, 2021. What does that mean?
It means there was no search history between those dates. Like I mentioned before, the pattern of life, every day prior to February 13th, or almost every day, there was a search, if not lots of searches. And then on June 1st and after, there was also a search almost every single day or multiple searches a day.
So you're talking about the pattern of life or historical use of the phone that you referenced previously?
Yes.
And so the pattern of life that you determined, so I understand, is prior to February 13th of 2021, on her phone there were how many searches? Or what kinds of searches?
General searches for, I don't know, anything and everything. Nothing stands out in particular.
But again, the pattern that you noted in terms of frequency of Safari searches?
Yeah, there was multiple prior to.
And then following June 1st, that pattern resumed?
Yes.
Do you have an explanation for the gap in Safari search history, or what would account for what you're seeing there?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled, you can answer.
Yeah, so it could either be deleted or, as I mentioned earlier with the private Safari, if you use that, it doesn't keep track of your history.
I have no further questions for this witness. Thank you.